Hi there. Welcome to Bible/Chat. Kevin,
Hello. It's good to see you.
that was incredibly rapid and
Well,
makes me a little nervous.
I was prepared.
Are you tense? Hello!
I'm ready.
Put me in, coach! No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, that's very good. Good. How are you?
I'm doing well.
Good.
Just got back from a little vacation with
Awesome.
the family, so it's good to see everyone in my family.
Yeah, totally.
That's actually not what happened. We should restart this.
No, it's okay. It's okay. So you went and had vacation. It was nice. Relaxed.
Yeah.
It was in the desert.
It was good, yeah.
It was
In the
100 degrees.
Middle of nowhere, 100 degrees.
And then you
quiet,
came back here.
nothing
and
going on. And it's 100 degrees here. So you're welcome.
Ultimately, the blame falls on you.
Yes.
You are also at fault for the weather.
I feel guilt and condemnation.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Just kidding. Just teasing. Sorry. No, we do care. Which is maybe, yeah.
Well, that's a good segue, actually. We're talking about
This hurts me.
care groups.
Good, yes.
So,
Yes.
yeah.
Care groups.
Let's talk about care groups.
Yeah.
Let's talk about care group leadership.
Okay.
So, with our leadership structure, so we have
Yeah.
someone, they come to care group, let's say a new family, and they break into accountability time, right?
Yeah.
So they diversify their
Yeah.
family, and there's guys with guys, ladies with ladies. Should they think that the ladies are care group leaders?
Oh, such a good question. Whew. Okay,
What
so
say you?
yeah. Okay, so this actually goes to a deeper thing, which is ultimately like who's responsible for the church, and that's actually the issue that we have to kind of have to back up to so that we can answer that question: Are the ladies care group leaders? So, ultimately, the responsibility for the church falls on the elders of the church, right? So, 1 Peter chapter 5. Peter commands the elders. He says, "I exhort the elders among you." So he's talking to the elders, and he says, verse 2, "Shepherd the flock of God among you." So the responsibility for the flock is on the elders of the church. So that includes men, women, everybody, children, all the flock that's among us is the responsibility of the elders. And that then that responsibility can be disseminated to people who are not necessarily elders, but who are teachers and leaders. But we would put those people who are teachers and leaders as responsible over as men. That men should be in those positions of teaching and leading.
Yep.
So when you have accountability and the men and women break up, what's actually happening there's a person who maybe facilitates that, or maybe is a note taker in that setting. So that's going to be a woman. We don't have the man in there who's like, no, tell me more. Right? That's terribly awkward. But there's a woman there who's taking notes and is hearing, right? Yep. And then that woman takes that data and gives it to her husband, and her husband says, "Okay, interesting. Okay, thank you for that. I'll pass this on to the elders." Not all the data, but maybe they're like, "Hey, there's maybe an issue that might need care and help in this person, so let's take that to the elders." And the elders are made aware of it so that they can then care for that person and shepherd them. So that in that way, there's like clarity on where everybody's heart is at. Sometimes it's very hard for a woman to just come directly to the elder board and say, "I'm struggling with whatever, this difficulty in my marriage or this difficulty in my life." That can be a hard transition to make, where the reality is that transition is much easier when it's done just with ladies, and those ladies can comfort one another. And so, no, there's no female care group leadership built into the care group structure. However, so that's one side of it. Yeah. Ultimately, that responsibility goes to the elders.
Right.
However, there is a responsibility for every believer to encourage one another day after day and to admonish one another. And so in that context, we would say, no, none of them are leaders in that context, but God has gifted certain women to be good admonishers and good caregivers and good teachers even. And all of that can happen inside the confines of that care group accountability time, where you have ladies sharing with one another, and then there's other ladies who are teaching and helping to deal with those things and responding to those issues, so that those ladies are helping one another and encouraging one another, so that they're then growing in that context. So teaching and leading and caring, yes, but ultimately in terms of care group leader in the sense of responsible party, we would say no, that ultimately is vested with the elders, who are then being helped by those ladies in that group.
Yeah. So it's more of a network of just, rather than an actual hierarchy or anything like that. It's so the women shouldn't feel pressured to have that responsibility in that sense. It's much more even the husband. But then we have husbands like myself or others who are not elders of FBC, and so even they
generally on the direction of becoming an elder, right? So that in that sense, care group is a training ground for eldership.
Yeah, which is really helpful.
Yeah.
And
but then at the end of the day, it's still not even on that person.
Yeah.
Ultimately, the weight rests on us.
So where does the buck stop, John?
Wow. I think I just lost like 7 IQ points. I feel myself dumber.
I feel smart.
Yes, of course. Ultimately, the buck stops with the elders, right?
Yeah,
because biblically we have shepherd the flock of God among you as a command to the elders, and we have the responsibility. Hebrews 13:17. Submit yourself to your leaders. They keep watch over your souls, right? Yep. Submit and obey to your leaders. They keep watch over your souls. So at the end of the day, the responsibility for the body of Christ in our local context is vested with the elders. We have the responsibility before God to carry that weight.
So if someone is feeling like the elders are not approachable, like they're in the network, right? They have those contacts and things like that. How would you encourage someone who maybe doesn't feel like the doors are open to come and talk to you guys?
So I would say a couple things. One is the doors are always open. We try to be as approachable as possible.
You don't bite.
Yeah. I am a jerk. No. So, I mean, the one is that I would say elders are always approachable. But then also I would say like it's helpful that the body of Christ exists, right? Because the body can admonish one another and help one another. And so I would say you don't necessarily have to go directly to an elder. You can just say, hey, I would like to talk to the ladies in my care group about this thing. And they can help to care for and provide that kind of shepherding care.
Yeah.
Some of it, if it becomes like a substantial issue, that might get back up with the elders. But a lot of that is just happening on the ground level where they're encouraging one another, and that's all happening. Now, if a lady's like, hey, I'm struggling with the elders in some specific way, I would say, I would encourage her to go directly to the elders and say, hey, I need help. Can you help me? And if someone comes to one of us and says, like, let's say you're in that setting, and someone comes to you and says, hey, I have a question about something, and I don't know and you might not know the answer to that. You always want to encourage them by saying, you should go to the elders and talk to them about that, because I'm not even sure what the answer is. If they say, no, those elders, they're mean and scary, like that John Buck. He's harsh. To quote Jason, I'm like a gym teacher, like a really, really angry. No, I'm just kidding. No, if someone has that feeling and they're like, I'm nervous to talk to them, then I would say, okay, you don't have to talk to them, but I'm going to help you because I want you to have clarity on that. So I'm going to help you to come with them. Why don't you come with me and we'll go together to talk to them? Because I promise you they're not mean. Right? And that way you can help that person go there and get that counsel and help.
Yeah. No, that's solid.
Yeah, that's a good question. Good. In your context, so you're not an elder,
right?
But you're a care group leader.
Yeah.
Like, do you feel the pressure of needing to shepherd the flock that God's given you there in your care group?
I feel like there is responsibility in the sense of a stewardship, you know, in the sense of like just functionally having that, while not having the direct answerability of an elder.
Gotcha.
But it's functionally, on the same page.
Yeah, totally.
Like it's exercising those, as you mentioned, like it's like a training ground in a sense for guys. So exercising those muscles and really kind of trying to cultivate that skill is something that is really good. And I can see my failings in that, and I can see ways to grow in that, and it is really helpful to treat it that way in a functional sense, while it's much more contained and monitored and things like that, where it's not just like me off doing my own thing.
And you're doing a great job. It's interesting, like it is something where like you have to be called into that role, right? You have to have that calling so that in your heart you feel, and this is totally a spiritual thing, you feel the pressure to care for them.
Yeah.
And it's not something you did. You're not like, whoever shows up on a Wednesday night and you're like, oh, like I need to care for that person.
Yeah.
Like that's something that God births in you, right?
Yeah.
And that's the heart of a shepherd that just happens inside of you.
Totally. Yeah. Just seeing like, what do these people here need?
Yeah, totally.
Like from the Lord, like how can I serve them? As we're learning in Mark, right? Like this becoming a servant of all, right?
Yeah.
That's in many ways, just every believer's responsibility, except also, especially with leadership, as being characterized by that. As Jesus says, like, it's not lording over someone. It's not just like pulling rank and saying like, well, I'm the care group leader and you need to listen or whatever like that. It's all from the ground up serving, from behind, from the back of the group, like a shepherd, like leading from the back. So yeah, very, very good to kind of get all of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Clear.
That's awesome. Okay, so one more question. What if you had a lady who was like, hey, I feel that shepherd's heart in me. Like, I want to care for other people. I want to care for other ladies.
Yeah.
Like, that's something I really long to do.
Yeah.
Would you say that she could exercise that?
I mean, it depends in what context, right? I mean, my wife is a great shepherd to our daughters.
Totally.
And that capacity is there. I think, again, that the believers have that collective responsibility.
Yeah.
Even teaching and admonishing one another, admonishing others in a private context and things like that, not in a public church formal setting. However, older women teaching younger women to love their husbands and all of that. I mean, all that goes through it. That is a huge, good blessing, absolutely. In your life from God. So I think if you feel that, then that is something that, you can actually find that in the text, and the text guides you there.
Yeah,
and so rather than just mystically, trying to put words on a feeling where it's like, I think I should be a pastor or something. It's like, no, the Bible actually guides all of us, and it has given the map of the church, really. So.
Like how to make those decisions. Yeah. Super helpful. That's such a good illustration, Kevin. The Bible has given us a map of the church.
Thank you, John.
Did you steal that?
I don't believe so.
You just came up with that on the fly?
Yes.
Oh, man. This is trouble. I don't know why I always have to sit here with people smarter than me. It's very frustrating.
That's not true.
Anyway, we hope that's helpful for you. If you have any questions, you can always email us at info@faithbibleoc.org. And thanks so much, Kevin.
Thank
Super
you.
helpful. Yeah, appreciate it.